Hey guys, it's Angel, and this is a first time in real life, and I'm in my dining room, so excuse me. We have before us here the, as you can see here, Honeycomb Aeronautical Alpha Yoke. Now we'll switch to normal format when we go and test this in the sim in a moment, but I figured first an unboxing. Never done one of these before, and I really kind of fancy the idea, because isn't that something YouTubers do? They unbox things. I mean, I thought that's what everyone did. They bought something and they unboxed it, but apparently it's something for YouTubers to do, and I'm going to do it because there we go. Turns out unboxing one-handed is hard. So we'll get through the labeling over here. I have, do excuse me, protected my identity slightly. Do excuse me while I get this off. There we go. Get rid of that. Right, and we can go back to actually opening this box. There we go. First of two sides. Turns out this was just cardboard. And we have in here. I'm never going to get this out in one piece with one hand. We'll be right back. Okay, so we're back, and now we have a slightly more manageable stuff. We have here the packaging sleeve, which comes over this box. Packaging is beautiful. Packaging sleeve has informaciones on the back for what we have. So this is the yoke and switch panel, of course. And we're going to dive right in a box. Get the box open for me. God damn it. There we go. So it comes along with the usual, actually this is really high quality compared to most manufacturers, booklet of stuff and screws. And this is our manual. Who needs that? No one. So we have a cable. This is for the power cable from the computer to, or the, data cable, USB cable from the computer to the actual yoke. This goes between the yoke and the hub. You'll see in a moment. And this is our base. Now this has either the suction cup mount or clamp, and the suction cups get released with these. You pull them up. Yeah, you pull them up. Inside the box proper, we have the goodies. Let's get this off here. It doesn't want to. So these are the clamps that attach to our base plate here, like that. So this is the actual desk mount style here of the yoke. The yoke itself will spindle onto that central point. I'll show you in a second. These C-clamps basically hook onto the little dots there, which locks them in place. Obviously they need to be tightened before they don't fall off. That way they pull back. But it will basically mount nice and securely to any surface with a good about 2 inches of thickness available here. So it's basically pretty versatile to most solutions. And we look at this central spindle here, of course. This goes straight to the underside of the yoke, where we reveal away this locking mechanism right there. Once you've actually locked it down onto that central spindle, you tighten those wheels down at the back here, which raise and lower, securing it fully in position. So let's proceed to get this bad boy out of its box. There we go. You can go away, and we will slowly, gracefully slide the plastic bag off the yoke to reveal what is inside. Come on, out you come. This looks much easier on YouTube. Our fourth wall. There we go. Okay, go away. So, first impressions are, oh god, this actually feels really good. That feels really nice. The build quality is fantastic. I can't really tell much about the actual yoke function. It does auto center, which is interesting. I'm not sure whether I like that or not, but it does auto center. No dead zone though, which would be nice. Switches have a good positive feel to them. Oh, that feels incredibly positive for the mags. And we have other switches down here. Also incredibly positive. Same mounting type as all the Cytec panels. So we'll take things like the instruments and radio panels and switch panels. Useful. Much more contained and simpler build, I think, overall than the Cytec. The construction of the yoke itself feels amazing. I really like that. Now this cable we talked about, this plugs in the back here of the yoke. You see down there? This plugs into the back, at least on one of these ends, like that. And it plugs in over here. This, like a real yoke that has buttons on it, will typically have some sort of cable to transfer data. This does too. Unlike the SciTech, of course, it's not running through the center of the axle, which makes this thinner, stronger, more stable, because it's not having to carry a cable as well. And it's not unrealistic. Our rotation is exactly as it would be in real life, the full 180, which the Cessna SciTech one I have currently does do, but we will have to look at it once it's actually on the sim set up. I will not be, unfortunately, showing you what it's like on my sim, because my sim is my desk, and my desk is horrific, but we will get my impressions of it in-game. I'll have to spend some time setting all this up, of course, but we'll do that, and we'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome back to the sim, and this is me on my proper mic finally. Do apologize for the GoPro there, but I wanted to actually have a camera of me doing it in the sim and using it, but at the same time my desk is a horrific mess, so I figured we'll skip that for now. Maybe in the future that could be a thing. But the mounting on the desk is really simple, really easy, and the yoke's quality, as I mentioned earlier, is fantastic. The build quality is amazing. Now, with it properly mounted, I can really play with the yoke and feel the strength of it, and the elevator axis is pretty stiff, which is good. It feels great. You no longer get the pitch seesawing you get with a lot of flight sim yokes. Roll axis is perfectly smooth and there is zero dead zone. It does auto center, but there's no dead zone whatsoever. And honestly, this thing feels great in the cockpit. Now, you'll excuse a few derps in the actual cockpit, notably radio things and OBS knobs. Current patch of flight sim is not the world's best. So we're going to start the aircraft up, and that's the last time I'll touch a switch in the cockpit, because let's go battery on. Yep. Let's go mags. I'm doing this all from the actual Alpha yoke. Brakes, parking brakes on. I will stand under the brakes as well, just in case, because I like to make sure that's what you should be doing. And let's start the engine, shall we? Nice. And we'll rev the engine up here for a... We're on both. So let's go to left. Right. Slight change. Nothing really much. Yeah. Mag check's 10 times easier now. The only thing I don't really like is the huge... should we say the double buttons on the side of the yoke, because they do get in the way of your thumb a little bit if the yoke is on your top of your desk and your seat's not high enough. I'd love to be a way to mount this under a desk. It would be so much better there. The angle does stress the thumb a little bit, but that's mostly just those two huge buttons. I may change that, who knows. But let's get this thing moving. Let's not forget we need to put our beacon light on. Our strobes, our nav lights. Of course, landing and taxi, easy there. See, individual buttons, really simple. So let's get the parking brake off and let's taxi out. Now, of course, we have got the things like scenic cam and smart cam, I should say, but we don't need that today. The hat is smoother than the previous models of yokes that I've used, including the CH and the Cessna SciTech model, not the Pro Flight, the Cessna one, which had the 180 degrees of rotation, so that's nothing new to me having 180 degrees, but it is very nice on this. It is so smooth, and you'll see once we're in the air. The aircraft just behaves so much more realistically and naturally to real aircraft. You no longer get that seesawing you get from a lot of flight sim controllers. It is a truly silky experience. I really love this yoke. Now, me having a camera on me using it would literally just show someone using a yoke. It's not too stiff to use with one hand, which is how I fly a lot of the time, especially since I've got a handle on throttle. Right, let's put our flaps down. Once I have the beta quadrant arrive, which is November, it's pre-ordered, so it will arrive on the 9th of December. Then I'll have trim wheels and landing gear, flaps, everything is natural control, barely have to touch the cockpit. I'll probably get fuel selectors in there as well. Right, let's roll. Give a little bit of right rudder to counter the torque. There we go. Let's keep it centered and pull back. And that is us off the runway. Knock a bit of trim in here. There we go. And we are up. So flaps up. Let's give it a bit of trim to balance that out. Pull the throttle back. And it is so smooth. Look at this. I'm banking right. Oh, so smooth. And they barely have any pitch seesawing whatsoever. No difference, of course, is when you trim out differently to where your actual pitch is at. But the roll is smooth. So this is me rolling full left, full right. The aircraft really responds nicely. It doesn't feel like it's got any extra kind of sensitivity issues or detent problems, but it does roll beautifully, whichever way you want it to. Let's turn into the turn here. We'll come around and land and show the approach. But the very stiff pitch is, I'd say, feels pretty accurate to a lot of aircraft types. The pitch axis is weighted a lot more heavy, so you don't get that seesawing. Darrington off there. We're going to land back on the runway. It's a little heavy, I'll give it that. Not too bad, but it's a little heavy. I think the heaviness does counteract the sim tendency to pitch seesaw. That is something you tend to see a lot in a sim. And it is much less noticeable now because the amount of pressure you can put on the yoke is not just going instant control input. You'd physically have to go shove or pull to get to do that as I stall the aircraft. Parallel with the runway there. This is Darrington Municipal, of course, from Orbex, so we'll swing it round and put it down on the runway here. A nice right pattern. The switches are fantastic. I love those. Oh, forgot to put the alternator on and avionics for some reason, because I wasn't paying attention. But the backlighting's got adjustable 3 or 4 different color, settings, sensitivity, brightness, and it's, of course, the build quality is the rubberized kind of covered plastic. It looks and feels amazing. It's incredibly sturdy. It's a very heavy yoke, incredibly heavy actually, much heavier than the Cytec model, and everything you do just suddenly feels smoother. Like this makes you a better sim pilot. I mean, if you've flown a real plane, this feels so much closer to the real thing. It's truly lovely to use. Actually, haven't had the smart cam mapped for a while, but now I do, which is nice, as it will auto center me on the airport. Although I won't use that, I'm just going to use my normal camera point to roll myself onto the runway heading here. The one thing I do need to map is my carpeet for throttle out. Little fast and high, but not a big deal. We'll just let it drift down and we'll flare naturally. There we go, pulling full flaps. We're making a late landing here, about halfway down the runway. But I just want to put it back on the ground and show you the approach. Coming in pretty steeply here. Let the aircraft level out. And bounced it, of course. There we go. So smooth. Even with a botched approach like that, that was so smooth. That wasn't clean in the slightest, but it does not want to over pitch, which is definitely a problem I've seen with a lot of flight sim aircraft. They respond way too easily, and this aircraft, or the Yoke I should say, really does make everything more natural. The roll is beautiful, the pitch is great. The only thing I'm not a huge fan of, like I said, is the position of the hat switch relative to those 2 large buttons. If your hands are not that big, it does make it a little bit harder to reach, but it's not the end of the world. Like I say, I may just remove the button on that side, because there's so many on this thing. You've got 2 on the right and 2 on the left. You've got the hat switch and a button on the front and a button on the back of the left stick. And you've got 2 on top of the right stick. So it makes for a great experience. And let's shut the aircraft down, shall we? There we go. Mag's off. Didn't touch a thing. It's a great aircraft. I love this aircraft. Yoke. I am in love with this. I am very happy with the price I paid, which is £250. It is a sturdy product. I'm not giving it any duration testing yet, but for all my future videos, you'll likely see me using this. So If I notice any problems, you guys will be the first to know. So verdict on the Alpha Yoke is very good. Check out the Aerosoft store. They have it in stock in Europe. I know Sporties in the US has it in stock. If you can afford it, get it. You will enjoy it. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.